Hi. Um, so for the people who don't know, pretty much everyone that would be. Um, your name is Daniel. You're my dungeon master. We play every Saturday. Um, and I wanted to bring you on to talk a bit about, Dungeons and Dragons. I want to talk about running Dungeons and Dragons, and how like what your like what's the word that I'm looking for here? Your
Playstyle? Run style?
Yeah, that too. But like how you go about building adventures and preparing for sessions and stuff like that. That's kind of that's what I'm going for with this
Absolutely. I could do a
thing.
question at a time, or I could just spiel off. What would you rather have?
I don't even have questions prepared. It's just like a back and forth talking thing, because I run a game for my friends, so I wanna back and forth. Let's talk about Dungeons and Dragons. Um, overall, when did you start? How long have you played?
I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons, I guess, since I was in middle school, and I'm 29 now, so I've been playing probably since I was 11 years old.
Oh wow,
So I started by
you've
having
been
a
playing for almost as long as I've been alive.
awesome. Yeah, I had a few friends that played this Dungeon Dragon style game, but it was more or less not using the books. It was kind of just like a role play, make fun, your own thing, more imaginative. Whatever you wanted to do, you could do. And there wasn't really a set curriculum on how the game would play out or like what the role styles were. It was just whatever the person in charge of the particular time was saying. Hey, like if you roll a 6 on a d6, you do whatever you wanted to do, but any other number, something bad happens, and that sort of
Yeah.
play style, and that's kind of how it started. But it was really fun. We had our characters written on little binder paper that had the lines on it, and we had some pretty grand, epic adventures, and it kept going like that for years. I believe 4 or 5 years just doing that, and before I actually started getting into any of the books. So it was just all fun and games that were without any rules. Eh, I liked it that way.
That sounds super dope. Yeah, because like back in the day, there weren't such a thing as like polyhedral dice, right? It was only the d6s.
Yeah, they had D20s around, but I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that just wasn't something that we
I'm
really.
think I'm thinking back. This is 18 years ago, so it would have been 97 or so.
Yeah, yeah, about
Oh
97.
yeah, yeah, they would have had d20s back then. I'm
Yeah.
thinking like early like
No, I'm
first like AD&D and shit.
no,
That
I'm
was just like
yeah.
d6s and stuff.
I think the first edition of D&D either came out like when I was born or before
Oh
that, like in the 80s. So maybe even
yeah,
yeah. So I mean
no,
I
that's a
was
long time
born in
ago.
'87, so it probably came out either around the time I was born or before then. So yeah.
Oh, well done. Yeah. Um, I'm intrigued by that. Like, roll a d6 on a six, you do whatever you want. That's cool. That's kind of like that. That reminds me of the dungeon world system, where you roll two d6s when you want to do a thing, and on a, I think it's 10 to 12 or a 9 through 12, you succeed flawlessly. On a 7 through 9, you do the thing, but something happens, and on a six or lower, you fail, but you get an EXP, right?
Hmm.
And that's like you level up by failing rolls and progressing the story that way. And
Yeah.
I think that's really neat.
That kind of playstyle actually helps, I think, develop somebody to be a good DM because they can really make any kind of situation that's not in the book happen because they have a lot of experience with just coming up with stuff on their imagination and not just having to, oh, let me look in the book, what's it say about that, right? They could be like, yeah, you can role play that, let's try to figure out how this would work. So
Yeah,
it gives a lot of experience in that regard.
yeah, cool. You've been playing for a long time. Jesus Christ.
I actually didn't start DMing myself. Well, I mean, I did a few when I was younger, but like never like a big game until about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And then I was kind of just
Yeah,
like bored of just being the player, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna do it for other people because I have a lot of good ideas, so I'm gonna bring those to light, and so
Yeah,
I
you have
did.
a ton of good ideas. Like, holy shit. I'm like thoroughly impressed every single session at like what is going on? How does Daniel handle this stuff? It's like it's weird.
I th-
Um,
I think some of my imagination for what to come up with and stuff. Like I'm a very big artist. I have a studio art degree, and
oh,
I've done
cool.
art pretty much my whole life in school, and so the maps I come up with and stuff, like they're simply base, but I try to make them as imaginative and as artistic as possible.
Yeah,
And I try to give a lot of variance to each map to make sure like some are kind of curvy, some are kind of straight and rigid, and I try to give a lot of even some are simple where there's just like one thing in the middle and like this map's empty, or it's like super like compacted with just buildings and people and situations where you could really do whatever you wanted in any situation. I try to give a lot of variety.
you do. You succeed at that. At least that's what I feel. I really like your maps. I haven't made any maps for my players so far. Um, I have three, maybe four in the adventure that I'm gonna run with my, or that I'm going to start with my group on Friday. I just drew up those things in Paint, copy pasted them into a Word document. I'm gonna print that out. That's essentially what I've done.
Yeah.
Um, I'm excited about that. I had a thought, but then it got away from me. Right, art stuff. Is there any place on the internet where I can find your art? I'm curious.
Yeah, I have a website. It's www.danielstimminger.com. I mean, my name is spelled kind of weird, but it's Daniel for my first name, Steiminginger for my last name. And if you just go to my website, it's got my portfolio with uh, art from what I did in school all the way up till what I've done recently, and also a video game I made, and what I've got linked I think to my Vimeo channel, and my YouTube channel is MalavarTC1. I have some of my art stuff on there too, some of the video games I'm making. But yeah, I have a lot of art on the internet. If you just look up my name, you'll probably be able to come across some of it.
Cool. Neato. All right. I was just curious.
Yeah, no problem.
I like art. It's like, like nice art is just neat to find overall. Um, so what do you think now? Do you prefer running the game or playing in a game?
It depends on the situation. I really like running the games because it really lets my brain try to come up with stuff on the spot, and it keeps me on my toes. It really helps me for when I do other things, because then I'm always thinking on the spot in my
Yeah.
D&D games, so I'm able to think on the spot in my everyday life routine. I do like having to come up with a story and the new maps, and so it really lets my creativity continue to blossom. So I like
Yeah.
DMing. Yeah, a lot more. So
Cool. Neato. All right. I don't know. I The way I started was pretty much like I started watching Critical Role on Geek and Sundry, and I got really into that for a long time. I'm still into that. So I figured, you know what, D&D is really cool. I'll just pick up the player's handbook and see where I can go from there, right? So I picked that up, read it through, and up until this point, I had pretty much like talked to my friends like, hey, guys, we should totally try D&D sometime. Hey, maybe join. And they were like, yeah, sure, whatever, yeah, maybe. And then I talked with one of my friends, Rochelle Gamer over on YouTube. And I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to play D&D. So I sent out a mass text to my friends like, I'm going to play D&D at this time at this place. Fucking be there or fuck off, pretty much. And then they showed up and we played D&D. It was fun.
nice.
So that's how I started D&D. And then I found your group on the internet because I wanted not only to DM, I wanted to actually play as a player as well.
Yeah.
I've
Um,
pretty much taken on the role of the DM because I don't think my friends would be willing.
yeah.
Like, I don't think they feel the need or want to put on the time required to prepare and stuff like that.
I really like Roll20 because it gives your preparation a lot of options. I like the
Yeah,
token system and the being able to search things up on the internet that are free to be able to just drop into your map somewhere, or be able to purchase stuff that you find to be intriguing but you want for your map. Um, I really like that style a lot. It also gives a lot of variety of the people that you'll meet across the web. For
yeah,
example, from different countries, right, or from
yeah.
different uh,
Continents.
yeah, continents, different time zones, and so you all kind of have to work together to try to make it a good time for everyone, as well as make it a good experience for everyone because everybody has different backgrounds and different experiences.
Yeah,
The group I do D&D with on Wednesday nights, where I live, I mean they're all around, I guess, a younger age, like 15 to 25, and they're all basically the average person that I would know at a comic book store, and so I don't really get that same kind of variety there that I do on Roll
yeah.
Twenty.
I get that. Yeah, we started off on Roll20 because I didn't have the dice, or we didn't have the dice to play, and we didn't have, all of that stuff.
Yeah,
But then I got it. And I actually, I much prefer playing like in real life. It gives a whole different kind of like feeling to playing D&D. I feel,
yeah,
and you run less of risk of interrupting someone when you start talking.
yeah. Yeah,
um,
I do like playing in real life, 'cause you get that human interaction that you don't
yeah,
get to over Roll20 because it's just voices, right? It's just people that you're
yeah,
just talking to online. But I like both,
very
and both are
disconnected.
good in their own respects. So
Yeah, yeah, of course. Um, yeah, I never used Roll20 to prepare anything special. I don't have maps or nothing or tokens. I just sort of like talk and they get to imagine. That's the extent of my. I don't have any minis and I don't like draw up maps or nothing.
yeah,
On big enough screens to have minis. Um, but I have tried to prepare a bit more extensively for this next adventure. Um, I have, let's see, 12 pages in a Word document written up with that's NPCs, that's a general like synopsis of the adventure, it's magic items, it's maps, all that stuff. So, what's your structure when you prepare stuff? Do you like write up detailed notes about every NPC and the world and the buildings and stuff like that, or do you like roll on tables?
well, I mostly like doing a sandbox style. So when I'm setting up a map, I figure out where the players are currently, and then all the options that they could possibly do to go wherever. And I try to set up a map for each particular place that it is possible for them to go to. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna do like a map for a place that's like 50 miles away if there's no way for them to get to that particular area, but I will
No, of
do
course not.
like options, like if they were to go into a portal that's right next to them, or if they
Yeah,
were to leave the building that they're in. I make sure that those options are always available. I
yeah,
make sure that if there is particular characters that I've made that I want to be part of the storyline, I make those characters come into their way if they don't find their way to them. I make sure that there's a way that those characters are brought into the storyline in some way or another. But I do try to let it be still a sandbox style where they get to choose their own adventure, but the main parts of the adventure still happen, whether or not they partake in it. That's my setup when I go towards what am I going to do for this map? What am I going to do for this part of the story? What am I going to do for the entirety of the world that I've created? So
yeah. That's good. The way I've done it so far is pretty much like you've been sent on this assignment, do said assignment. I haven't really done any plot hooks like, hey, this thing happened, how do you want to react? I should probably do that. It's gonna feel more immersive for the players, but it's difficult to do that, right?
Right.
I
Um,
don't know.
I uh, I would say that it takes practice, it takes time, and then once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to really adapt to your players a lot easier. It takes practice,
Yeah,
and I mean like I've only played a lot longer than I've DM'd, but because I've played a lot, you kind of see the playstyles of different DMs, and you take what you like, and you leave what you don't. For example, I try to make D&D a very worthwhile experience for every player. One of the main focuses of how I run D&D is I make sure that everybody's having a good time. Even if
yeah,
it's like not the exact story that they want, I try to make sure that I involve them somehow or try to get them in a way to play the D&D in which they can at least enjoy being there, and then give them personal side quests or something while everybody else is doing the main quest.
yeah.
Everybody has that option. I'm not just like funneling them into particular thing that I want to happen.
No, of course not.
Yeah. I also try to make sure that everybody feels welcome. I had an experience
That's
once.
important.
Yeah, I had an experience once that really made it so this was a big focus of me as a DM. Uh, I went to a D&D night meetup thing where there's 4 or 5 players and a DM, and I came the DM was like very rude and like, oh, we're full, we don't want anybody here, and I was just like, well, okay, fine, like I'll I'll just go find another group, and there's nobody around, nobody else around, and I ended up just kind of like just hanging around in the comic book store or whatever that I was at, and I felt really like kind of shut down that the guy was even like kind of rude to me, just wanting to watch, even if it wasn't there like to play, because he was like, oh, we're cut off, we don't want any more, right? And and it really struck a chord with me, and I was like, you know what? Whenever I DM, I'm gonna let anybody that wants to come, just even if it's just for that time, just join in or watch or do whatever, right? And I'm gonna make them feel like a part of the group, even if they're just there to watch. And it really helped me in my real life interaction with DM, because there's this. It was like a short time after that experience. I was at another group that was pretty big. It was like 11, 12 people playing through this one
Oh
DM,
wow,
there's
that's
this.
rough.
Yeah, it was a huge group for this guy, right? And I understood that, and I was like, yeah, it's kind of big, right? And somebody else wanted to join in, and by this point, yeah, it was a huge group, and the guy was getting to the point where that other DM treated me with like 4 or 5 people, right? So I was like,
Mm.
I'm gonna treat this kid how I would have wanted to be treated when I came into that group. So I started being really nice to the kid, and I started being like, and started like involving him in the campaign with me as my character, to kind of see how things worked out, right? Even if the DM or the rest of the players didn't want to deal with them. And what ended up happening with that group, the DM for that group was a good guy, by the way. He was just overloaded with a ton of people. I actually split.
Yeah.
With his like, I didn't want to steal people from his game, but like we talked about it, and with his permission, like we split that group into 2 games, and that's the group I'm actually running DMing on Wednesdays now,
Oh,
and
cool.
it ended up working out because, yeah, like, even though like the group was overloaded and it was a lot of people, we were able to branch it off so that there was 2 groups, and everybody that was there was having a good time. And since then, it's brought in a lot more people, and we may even, like, if we get more people, split off again into another group, right? So if you treat your people that come up and want to check it out with respect, and with knowing that, like, even if you're like feel you're a little overloaded, even if you just give it a shot, like, it may blossom into more groups and more people coming to experience the great nature that is D&D, right? Because this is an escape from the world. It's something that
Yeah.
makes it so people don't have to worry about their everyday life and everyday stresses. Like, I don't want to go to D&D thinking, oh crap, like, now there's another thing I have to worry about because I have to try to make friends with these people and try to be really nice. If it just comes like, hey, like, this is my escape from the world. This is what I get to enjoy. If you go in it with that light, then it makes it a really good experience.
Yeah. Well said.
Sorry, I took the floor there.
um, Entirely okay. That's why you're here. It's so that I don't have to talk. I've already done streams, 3 streams today technically. So I'm a bit tired in the voice and the head.
No problem.
I spent like most of this afternoon trying to get a game working on a friend's computer while still at home. Didn't work out, unfortunately. Um. So, I should have written up questions. This is hard.
You'll know for next time.
Yes. I did write up some stuff in the chat last night that I wanted to talk about. Let's see.
I have
Yeah,
a loop of my
okay.
various maps. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, you were saying?
On my screen, I have a loop of my various maps, and I'm streaming as well, just so like if people
Oh,
want to look at my creative maps, they can check out my channel as well. But yeah, like I just
yeah,
wanted to throw that in there.
cool. Go to twitch.tv/MalavarTC1. Check that out.
Yeah. Well, definitely stay on the stream because this is the one we're talking on.
Yeah, that thing. Absolutely. Um, so how would you describe the way that you run a campaign? Would you like? I mean, it's a sandbox. Like we can do whatever the fuck we want, and like we have. But like, how would you put that into words? How you run it?
Fluid. I try to
Yeah.
go with the flow. With
Mm,
whatever happens, it's like, okay, yeah, I can work with that. I can try to do something that goes along that line. So that's how I run it. I run it very fluid. I don't try to give any rigid, like I said, experiences where it's like, no, 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 you can't do that at all, right? Oh, we want to punch the high elf queen in the face. Do it, Start a war with the
yeah,
high elves. That's all you.
I get that. I do that as much as I can. Um, the thing that I do that I really, really enjoy doing actually with my players is when they ask, "Can I do this?" and I just reply, "I mean, you can try." And it's like every single time they get so like, "Oh God, maybe this won't work." I like that.
Yeah, I really took from a DM this option, which was really great. It was no matter what it is that the player wants to do, however they want to RP, however they want to take on a certain situation, every situation is possible, even if
Yeah.
it's like a 0.1% chance. It is still possible, right? So
Hmm.
for example, there is if somebody wanted to fight Zeus of the D&D world, right? And they
Yeah.
are their one level character. It's like, okay, you have the choice. You could go do that, and there is still the possibility of them beating Zeus or doing whatever that is they
Yeah.
want to pull off. Maybe they want to try to persuade him to be their servant. Okay, go ahead and roll a D100. If you get a 1, you do it. Everything else, obviously, it's not going to go in your favor. But there's still like that 1% or like that minuscule chance that whatever it is they want
Yeah.
to do can happen.
Yeah. That's important. Like trying to come up with an example from our game now, where we've done a stupid thing. It's not really a stupid thing, but it did happen last night where Darthon and I we just stood by this giant lake of lava and like for 20 minutes talking about, how do we get to the center of this thing? And we have an intelligence of 7 and 8 respectively. It was that was probably one of my probably one of my favorite times that I've ever played in D&D was like, huh. Because I get to be so stupid and it's so much fun to be stupid. Holy shit.
I really like how you two came up with the idea. Let's drain the lake into these
Yeah.
huge pits, and it's like, yeah, well, now that actually alters the course of what this giant lava crater will become in the future. Because I was talking with Darthon, which
Yeah,
is my sister Tamara.
yeah,
I was talking with her about it later. I was like, yeah, that crater's probably gonna fill up with water in time, and because there's lava underneath the earth there, it's going to become a hot springs,
yeah.
or like a really hot boiling lava. I mean, not lava, water crater.
Yeah.
Like it could alter the course of what people use that for. It used to be the capital, but now it's this big like hot
This
springs.
big hot spring. That's cool. I like
Yeah,
that. I like that a lot. Like one plan was just to flood it. That was fun.
yeah, yeah.
There is a
Flood.
magic item for that, but we didn't have that.
Yeah, the magic item you guys used before, where you flooded the other place. Yeah, that could have been used to
No, no,
flood
no, no.
the lava
That
pit.
was that was a scroll, right?
Yeah, that was a scroll.
Yeah. There's an item in the DMG that's called the Decanter of Endless Water, where if you just
Uh,
unplug the plug and you just pour out water forever.
Oh, I think I know that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it
That's
all
it's
into a
one of
big,
those.
yeah, obsidian
Yeah.
slab.
Yeah. It's just one of those stupid items that's just fun to give the party. I'm gonna give my party a boost to Winterlands just because I thought it was fun. I
Yeah.
mean, I love shit like that. Shit.
Whether
Speaking of
whether
shit
they
books,
use it or not, it's fun to just give people random items and see what they do with them.
right?
Like
It's
that
like,
paint, like that you guys ended up painting the
yeah,
pits. Like it was just a random item. I try to make the magical items relate to the story so that things make sense. But even if they don't, it's like okay, yeah, sure they get it.
yeah. I do that if it's story relevant. The boost I'm gonna give my party is literally just like they've been summoned or rather requested by one of the Council of Five, who are advisors to the king, right? Who have been requested. Their presence have been requested by him, and he's gonna like ask them for a favor, like exchange for rewards, and this is gonna be one of those. It's literally just a magic item he has flying around. That's pretty much why it's like they're gonna get some dragon scale armor. They're gonna get the boots, a dope sick maul, and some other guy I can't remember. The quiver of Elona,
Yeah.
and it's like these are fun stuff. And I have a ranger, and she's gonna be really excited about the quiver. And I'm pretty sure the barbarian is gonna be really excited about the maul, and shit like that. It's cool to
Definitely,
reward your players with magic items.
definitely.
A, isn't it? A.
You also want to give a player reason for like being part of the group too. Like I know there was even when in our Roll20 campaign, like some players felt like their characters weren't doing anything in the group, and I understand that completely because it's like if you don't play a part in the campaign, you don't play a part in the game, and you feel left out, you want to change it up. You want to be a part of it, right? So I'm
Yeah.
I'm totally willing to work with people to either replace their old characters or find a way that their old characters could slip into the story another way. So I always try to make it so everybody has a role in it, even with or without magic items, with or without whatever the current path it's on. I try to rewrite it so that everybody can has a part in it.
Yeah. And that's great. Um, yeah. One question, just because I'm super curious. What's your favorite moment that you've played or DM'd?
um,
Because I
okay,
have one very vivid one that
I have
I
one for my favorite
really like.
moment I've ever played, and one for
Yeah.
my favorite moment I've ever DM'd.
Yeah.
My favorite moment I've ever played personally was when I was probably like 16, 17 years old, and I was the last person to have survived this campaign. All the other people have either like moved or done other things, and I was the last one playing in this campaign with this DM, and
Oh.
and I was like, yeah, what would you like to do? And so I ended up going on this grand epic adventure, and towards the end of it, like we had played for like just him DMing me for like a year, and it was really coming to a close because like we were about to head off to college and stuff like that, and about to do our own things, like and move ourselves. And I took my characters. I had a giant flying ship, and there's a Hydra coming to attack a town, like a giant Hydra. And I rammed the Hydra with the spear of my ship, and the Hydra was just like, I don't know if you can imagine this, but all the heads were like latching onto the side of the ship as I was piercing it, and it just like came and it like swung the ship over its back and like crashed, and I flew off the ship and crashed into a tree, and I would have died. I would have died 100%. But the DM rolled a D100, and he got a 100 on it, which was like the only way I could have survived.
Yeah.
And I survived. And he's like, "Wow, you survived that?" And then I ended up living the rest of my life like in the side of like a mountain, like just a hermit, like with all my riches and gold for having destroyed this giant Hydra with a ship. It was like amazing. And it was only like every other number I would have died straight out. But
Yeah.
I survived that. And he's like, that was amazing ending to the game. It's like, yes, it was.
Yep. Absolutely.
My favorite moment I've ever DM'd was probably in, well, it's been this campaign that you guys are playing in mine. The whole chaos of the world coming with all the elementals and stuff. I'm doing the same campaign with the other group at on Wednesday nights. They haven't gotten as far as you guys. You guys have gotten a lot farther than them, and you obviously passed the story arc. But they between you two, you both have, between the group I do on Wednesday nights and between your group, the group I do on Saturdays, you both have already passed the part where you fought old Hydra on the ship. I say fought with a loose term.
Hydra.
Yeah, yeah. You guys went on to fight it, and Hope's like fighting, shooting lasers or whatever she's doing from the side, like shooting firebolts, and yeah, just everybody was doing exactly what they would do was going on. Like everybody reacted exactly how their characters would react, and I can't remember if it was yours or Mark's character was just like holding on to like the bow of the ship or whatever. It was just like, ah! Like crying and like like crying to themselves.
That was main. Yeah.
Yeah. Just like everybody was like, Cornelius was like, we're gonna do this till the end, you know. He's like on the side of the ship, like gonna fight it, and Hope's like fighting, shooting lasers or whatever she's doing from the side, like shooting firebolts, and yeah, just everybody was doing exactly what they would do in the situation, and then they all got sucked into the water tornado, and what's really great is you guys did exactly what you would have done, and the other group on Wednesday nights did exactly what they would have done, and so that's been my favorite part to roleplay and every adventure I've ever done. Just people, what would they do if they were sucked by a water tornado chaos god? Like, it's always been a good result.
Yeah, I like that.
So you were gonna share
I don't-
yours? Yeah.
Yes, that was my idea. Yeah, I don't know that I have a favorite moment as a player necessarily. I enjoyed meeting Sturban, of course. Sturban was cool. I'm thinking about all of the things that happened, and I did enjoy every time I got to say, what was it? It was. Yeah. When Amos was a drunk pirate and started almost shooting things, and I said just, Amos, down, boy. I enjoyed all of that. That felt good. But my favorite moments so far while DMing, and this is like, I haven't been DMing for very long at all, was the first time I DM'd with the group of people that I actually go to school with currently. Probably not next term, but you know, whatever. And I like built up this module in this dungeon, and they were kidnapped and they got thrown into the dungeon, and they fought their way out. And there was this one room where it was like a massive triangular cavern thing, like almost pyramid shaped, and in the center of it was like a white dragon hatchling, right? It was a really small white dragon, and so there was some fighting starting, and my friend Natalia was playing a barbarian at the time, and when she realized that this dragon was blind, her eyes just lit up with this realization, and that just felt good in my soul. Oh my god, was that cool! It was like a proper like, oh my god, it was sick.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, it was good. And then they almost died several times. That was also fun. I'm excited to see what they do about this adventure now, because there's going to be a storm giant in it, and I'm a bit worried they're going to try and fight the storm giant and die. Because if they fight the storm giant, they will die.
Yeah, you always want to give, if there's something that's big and scary and strong, you always want to give options where they survive. You don't want to make it so it's a party wipe every session, right? That's one
Oh no,
thing.
no, of course not.
Yeah, that's one thing I always try to give mercy on. If there's something big and scary and they're going up to it and they don't realize, or even if they do realize, there's a possibility that they're not going to get party wiped. And you always
Yeah,
want to throw that in there.
of
Yeah.
course.
Um, there
Yeah.
was there was a campaign that I played in where the DM had this whole 10-story dungeon planned out, mapped everything, and
Oh no.
he had like prepared it all the way to the bottom floor where we were trying to get a deck of many things, which was being held by a ancient red dragon, like a really powerful ancient red dragon,
Yeah.
and on top of his gold pile or whatever on the bottom story of this dungeon, and we would have to go down several flights through different mazes, different bosses, and what he didn't realize was a few months beforehand, a few sessions back, he had rolled for me a rare item, a luck blade, which gives a wish, and I still
Oh
had that
no.
item. And what I did at the very beginning of the whole um, like dungeon is I was like, I wish we were right next to the deck of many things. And he's like, no, you didn't. And I was like, yes, I did. And he's like, he just was so livid and so mad, and he was just like threw the papers up in the air, and he's like, fine, you're on the bottom floor of the dungeon right in front of this ancient red dragon, and
Yep.
and so we had this deck of many things, and the dragon was planning on just killing us all, right? But
Yeah.
because I just wanted to throw it for a loop, I said I'd draw 12 cards, because you have to like announce how many cards you're drawing. And so I drew 12 cards off the deck of many things, and it really like just made this crazy like thing happen, and the dragon was just like, holy crap. Holy crap, we're all dead. Like just like and like it was even just like started laughing, and everybody in the group was like laughing and just like, wow, is this really happening? And my character, the very last card I drew is I got sent to an alternate but the rest of the group literally got this super rare, wondrous mythical item without any effort at all. It was hilarious.
I enjoy that. Dick move. A good move. I like that.
Yeah, the DM was so happened. The rest of the group took the deck of many things and they teleported out there because they had like a sorcerer or like a wizard in the group. And the dragon was like, "What? No!" And so we just skipped the entire dungeon. My character was gone, but the but the rest of the group literally got this super rare, wondrous mythical item without any effort at all. It was hilarious.
I enjoy that. Dick move. A good move. I like that.
Yeah, the DM was so mad. He was so
I
mad.
understand why he was mad.
He had it all mapped out and planned. But that he afterwards he
Shit.
was just like, well, I guess that's all down the drain. But it was great.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully he saved it to run with a different group.
Oh
But
yeah, I'm sure he did. But like it was really funny. He took all his papers where he had like every floor mapped out. He just threw them in the air because he was just like, I have no use for these right now. It's just great.
Jesus Christ. All right. How did we get into that?
I don't know. I just started. I guess I go on tangents sometimes.
That's okay. It's entirely okay. Ah. Okay. We were on favorite things, I think.
What about your favorite things?
Yeah, but like favorite moments, I suppose. I think that's where we got into that. I don't know.
Yeah, Those are all some of my favorite moments.
Yeah, I get that. I understand why. I just remember the time that I wasted a wish spell because I didn't realize it was an
Oh,
actual wish spell.
yes, yes, the on the water gem. Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad.
Look, I ain't even mad. Like,
it,
shit, I
it's
fucked up. That's fine.
Yeah, it's
It
funny
was fun.
how you used your wish spell and the other group, they used the wish spell for the guy who was the ghost outside. They
Yeah.
wished that he was no longer a ghost, that he was a human again, and
Oh,
that he was alive again.
how
And
selfless of them.
yeah, and they used it, and he was like, and then he realized after he was a human again that he didn't even know he was dead, and he was like, "Wow, like, thank you," like, and he's like, I guess it's time for me to head home. Well, when he heads home, his wife is still dead because
Yeah.
it's been a long time, and so the wife is like, "I'm dead and you're alive. What's going on?" Like, it was hilarious. So it
Yep.
still didn't work out. It was a really selfless act.
I get that.
It's just funny how different people react to different situations in different groups.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I think that's why it's fine to recycle campaigns cuz you never know what's going to happen. Like I really
Right?
use a lot of the books to get some of my campaign ideas, but I really just try to like the sandbox, use those ideas to just make it so that there's more. I use the books so that there's more ideas rather than just like limiting it to the books itself. I've been in D&D groups where literally the only things you could do had to be specified in the books. And let me tell you,
What?
those were the most boring, the most frustrating D&D groups I've ever been in. Um, it's literally these people that are in these campaigns where they say, "Oh yeah, like where'd you get that item?" It's like, "Oh, I got it from a certain side quest I did." Like that's not in any of the books. You can't use that item. It's like, wow, like all this effort that my character did side on the sidelines like has
Yeah.
no merit. And I really despise groups like that. I'm not saying that they're
Yep.
not good for some people, because some people like really structured, really rigid rules, and that's what they go for, right? And
Yeah.
I understand that. It's just not my playstyle, and I can't stand it.
I get that. I do. Like, yeah. Fuck. Like, isn't there a rule in the book that says do literally anything?
I think so. I think that's in the Dungeon Master Guide. Like, really make
Right?
any situation. Like, you can use the books for the campaigns, but literally, like, the Dungeon Master Guide says, adapt to every situation. Like,
Yeah.
really make everything possible. Because that's what people are there for, to use their imaginations. And,
Yeah.
it
And
really.
our rule is to bend the rules. There's
Yeah,
literally a rule that says, look, if you don't know, wing it.
right, exactly, exactly, and because of the way that this D&D campaign group, whatever, it was a couple of different groups, and they all went to this particular place because um, if you didn't want to do a particular thing or do a particular style, like and they literally wouldn't let you play the type of character you want to play. Say somebody wanted to be like chaotic evil or evil neutral or something like that, that they would
Yeah.
not let you play that type of character. They really like just constrained people to play only what they wanted them to play. And I stopped going to that comic book and game store altogether because I was just like, I really can't feel constrained like that. Like this is my
Yep.
imagination. This is my fun time. This is my free time. I am not going to use it to be have another job, right?
Yeah.
This is for myself. This is for fun. And so I would suggest to anybody listening to this that's planning on DMing or planning on going to a game, don't go to those types of games if you're not one that wants to have another job on top of your already daily stressful life, right? You want
Yeah.
something that's fun and free. Do something that's open map, open world, open campaign, sandbox. That's my suggestion. Or at least one that's very fluid, even if it does follow the books. One that lets you
Yes.
do whatever you want or be whatever you want, even if it does follow some of the books.
Basically, just find a DM that works with you.
Yeah, that too, for sure.
Like, that's pretty much the baseline, I feel. I think. And, like, if not, one that specifically has your exact playstyle, one that's flexible.
Yeah, yeah, it can work with people. That's
Yeah,
that's why on Roll20 I really like how people can write out their entire campaign, like play style. They can write out what they're expecting in players, so that people can find exactly the kind of group that they're looking for. In real life, you kind of have to just search, right? You have to
yeah,
actually go to these places. You have to find a group that you mesh with, and it may take a while. For me, for example, I ran into the group that was really rude. I ran into the group that was really
yeah,
rigid, and it took a few times before I was able to find a group that, hey, this works for me, right? But on Roll
yeah,
20, if you don't like a group within the first session, like you don't have to drive somewhere. You don't have to go to. You just you know leave the group, and you go find
yeah,
one that does match with you. So
yeah. I was just really lucky that I was able to finally convince my classmates to play with me.
glad you did
So
too.
like, yeah, it's like I know I get along with these people. Why not go on adventures, stuff like that?
Hmm. Definitely, definitely.
Yeah.
Um, well, I actually am gonna sign off for the. I hope that's enough time that I gave you.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I'll try to share your Twitch channel as well, and let people know that you do like a podcast thing sometimes. So
Thank you so much.
you're welcome. This was really
And
fun.
yeah, and so that you don't forget, MalavarTC1 on Twitch. Check him out. He plays League of Legends. I've seen him opening boxes at one point.
Yes, yeah, League of Legends as well. So,
Do
yeah,
you do other stuff on your Twitch? I have no idea.
yeah, I do a lot of stuff. I do League of Legends. I do uh, PS4 games. If there,
Oh,
for example, I play Fallout 4 right now. Uncharted 4. I my own game that I've been making, my own games that I've made. I Twitch
yeah.
that sometimes. Just fun stuff sometimes. It just really depends. I'm all over the place, but it all has to do with video games or nerdy stuff. So if you go to my Twitch or you go to my YouTube channel, it's all video games and nerdy stuff. So I hope
Good.
you're yeah,
That's the best kind of stuff.
yeah, for sure. Well, I'll see you on Saturday, and
Yes.
yeah, talk to you later,
Yeah,
Anton.
man. Have a good